What is up, and welcome to the Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silver's 2023 SEC football preview. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers. If you're watching on YouTube, we're doing these a team at a time to make the videos less husky and easier to watch. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you are getting the full preview all at once because you have a pause button. Now, you should subscribe to both video and audio by checking the show notes or searching Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers so that you don't miss anything, such as the video-only, most entertaining weekly college football pick'em show in the history of the world, Brett's Bets. Speaking of Brett's Bets, I am joined today by the man himself, Brett Gosnell, to help me break down these SEC teams. Brett, let's get into it. The Missouri Tigers in the Lesser Columbia, 6-7, 3-5 in the SEC last year, lost to Wake Forest in the Gasparilla Bowl. Eli Drinkwitz is here in his fourth season. They bring back a lot of guys from last year. I don't know how good those guys were last year or if they'll be any good this year. Brett, what do you think?
So Drinkwitz is another guy I kind of am interested in. He was at App State before, and rumor was we were somewhat close to hiring him as our offensive coordinator back in the day under Muschamp. That probably wouldn't have went very well, but he's another guy I kind of like and keep up with a little bit. Vegas has their win total at 6.5. That feels about right to me.
Yeah.
They just kind of feel like a middle of the road team, but they've beat us both of Beamer's years, beat us in Columbia last year, and they come closer to beating Georgia than anybody did outside of Ohio State. So, I mean, we kind of have to give them some respect here.
Yeah, that's in my notes here. It says that I wonder if this is a school that only exists to terrorize me as a Gamecock fan.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like. And they do have talent. I mean, they got Luther Burden there, who was the number one recruit coming out of high school. I don't know how well they really used him last season, but you could see the big play potential. They're losing a couple of their top two receivers, but like I said, Burden will slide right in there, and a couple of guys who could get them some sacks, rush the passer. But they played Georgia tough, like you said. I do not believe in their quarterback, Brady Cook. He's just a meh guy. Missed most of the spring with a shoulder issue, too.
Yeah. And also at receiver, Theo Weiss, Oklahoma transfers coming in. That's another 5-star they have there. But yeah, questionable who they have throwing to him. He's just average, I would say. Unfortunately, I attended the game last year in Columbia. The offense was just a lot of side to side, not a lot of big plays, just a lot of side to side shit that just our slow linebackers couldn't deal with. I mean, just little rollouts and short passes and, running outside the box, just kind of typical Drinkwitz stuff. It did set up a few big plays and receivers got wide open and Cook was able to hit them, but he's kind of a game manager for that offense, but he does have some big talent at wide receiver, like we said.
Yeah, and they've got Cody Schrader and Nathaniel Pete coming back at running back too, but their numbers combined, that's not anything special. Yeah, I think it really comes down to, can Cook get the ball to those wideouts on offense?
Yeah.
And I don't think he can. So there.
So on defense, Tennessee smoked them and scored a ton. Kansas State early in the year scored a ton on them. But other than that, the defense was very, very solid. They were fringe top 30 in total yards defense. They were fantastic against us, but many people were that time of year. So yeah, just another, just more solid. Nothing fantastic, just kind of solid on both sides of the ball, really.
Yeah, I mentioned they were reloading it on the defensive line, but their DBs and linebackers, those are really good groups. So that should help ease that pain a little bit. I know their schedule, it's an SEC schedule. Doesn't really feel too hard or too soft either way, really. They play LSU. They have to play at Georgia this year. They play Tennessee. It is what it is, but this just feels like a mid team.
Yeah, schedule could be a lot worse. They get Kansas State at home, who, as I said, beat the shit out of them last year.
Is Klein back this year? Because that would be.
I don't know. That's a good question.
If he's gone, I'm not super scared of Kansas State, although they did kill them. But yeah, it's not an awful schedule, I don't think, for an SEC team.
No, could be much, much worse. They go to Memphis. That's just Miss State did that. Played Memphis the last 2 years. That's interesting. Memphis is starting to play the SEC schools.
Yeah. Wonder what they're looking for. We're full. Interesting fact. So they have never had a winning record under Drinkwitz in 4 years.
Really?
So I don't know when they start to get tired of that. I don't know if you can at Missouri either. Like 6, 7 wins. Well, he hadn't hit 7 yet, but 6 wins a year, bowl eligible. What's the ceiling in Missouri?
Well, I mean, it feels like what you're saying, but you look at the recent past, was it their first year in the conference they went to Atlanta?
Yep.
Under Gary Pinkel.
Came out hot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, they're never going to have like enough talent to make it to Atlanta, but maybe some year they can smoke and mirror their way like they did that year.
That was a very bad year for us, so I like to not think about it.
Yeah.
But there you go, Missouri Tigers. You're welcome.